People tend to think that cardio is the best exercise for brain health. But what if I told you that lifting weights is becoming the rising star strategy to promoting brain health, guarding you from dementia? I'm Janet McConnell, certified fitness educator, healthy longevity advocate, and national bodybuilding champion in my late 60s. And recently, I have noticed something in my fitness clients who have early stages of a neurodegenerative disease. They have thrived. They have slowed progression of their disease. They've gotten stronger instead of weakening, making their doctors scratch their heads because they're not progressing downhill the way they expected. This made me super curious. And so I dove into the research to find some answers. How strength training affects not just our muscles, but our minds. In this video, I'm going to share 3 powerful science-backed ways that strength training protects your brain better than just cardio alone, and how I've seen it play out in real people's lives. The studies I'm about to quote to you are double-blind, peer-reviewed, and they had a large enough cohort to be really valid, and they were done over a long enough time for the study findings to really be believable. So stay with me if you want a closer look. Number 1, strength training improves cognitive function, hands down. Let's start with mental clarity, because this is something I think we all struggle with in this modern world, regardless of a disease diagnosis. So in 2021, a study in PLOS ONE found that older adults with mild cognitive impairment improved memory, attention span, and decision-making after just 12 weeks of resistance training. That's neuroplasticity at work, your brain's ability to adapt and rewire around damage. And the metaphor I give this, I think of it like upgrading your brain's operating system. Cardio helps keep everything running. It's good for you. But resistance training installs a whole new software. One of my clients, let's call him Gus, came to me in his late 50s complaining not so much about weakness to exercise and improve, but about brain fog and low energy. He didn't have the cognitive diagnosis, but he was noticing how his thinking was becoming muddled at work, and he needed his mind to be sharp and his thinking clear. So he started strength training with me, mainly just to manage stress, which is a great reason to start. So we started with 2 days a week of strength training, and within a couple of weeks, he not only noticed that he had better posture and just kind of energy in general, he was getting stronger and sharper, more focused, and even sleeping better. The science lined up perfectly with what he was experiencing. Resistance training lit up his brain. This outcome didn't surprise me. I didn't say it at the beginning, but I just held back and watched, because I had experienced the same shift that I began back in the early 2000s. I became more regulated emotionally, could think better on my feet, and make better decisions. So number 2, strength training reduces Alzheimer's markers and inflammation. Here's where things get powerful. A 2023 Frontiers in Neuroscience study showed that strength training reduces amyloid plaques. Those are those sticky, awful little proteins that are tied to the Alzheimer's disease. And more broadly, it lowers all brain inflammation, which then allows the body to clear away the amyloid plaque. It's like attacking a disease at its roots. And cardio, like jogging, walking, and swimming, supports good circulation. So don't stop doing those things. But resistance training directly protects neurons from the processes that accelerate this decline. And who led me to do some digging on that fact and on that research, Stuart. Stuart was in the very early stages of Alzheimer's, still very functional, with only little minor indicators that anything was going on. In talking to him, you really couldn't tell. He had an athletic life as a young man, and as many have done, just stopped when he became an adult and had a career, a family, other pursuits to hold his attention. He was essentially returning to his roots to lift weights. He loved the challenge of seeing how much weight he could press. He felt like he was kind of revisiting his youth. His doctor was stunned because Stuart wasn't declining at the usual pace. He still needed to take some basic medication, sure, but his symptoms held steady far longer than the expectation. I will never forget the day Stuart came to the gym for his exercise session and said, "My doctor doesn't understand why I'm not getting worse." I'm like, what? Because his doctor works with Alzheimer's patients every day. And he knows it's a progressive disease and there's no cure. And so the job is to make the person function for as long as possible and to manage the symptoms. That's all we can do right now. But obviously it wasn't in this doctor's toolkit of managing symptoms to include resistance training. Stuart kind of did that on his own. So I'm not saying that strength training cures Alzheimer's. There isn't a cure right now. But what it does do is it slows down the progression and it gives hope while we look and search and study for a cure. Number 3, strength training builds stress resilience. Janet, what is stress resilience, you ask? It means that when you do resistance training, this is a controlled, intentional, intense, short-lived stress that you put on your body. And what this does is it makes you more resilient in the long run to beat back chronic stress. I mean, chronic stress is like rust for your brain. Exercise scrubs and polishes it off. A study in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity showed resistance training lowers cortisol, your main stress hormone, and boosts repair, recovery, and growth into your brain through proteins like BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is miracle grow for your brain. Repairing the damaged nerve cells to help build new neurons, and it helps us keep ahead of any neurodegenerative effects that might be lurking and not yet diagnosed. One of my fitness clients, Gloria, was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's. She was mostly worried about balance and confidence in her daily life. She was self-conscious about the little tremors and just the signs. She didn't want people to treat her like a China doll and stand out. She just wanted to flow with life as long as possible. Her care provider sent her to me for support in getting stronger, having better balance, and helping her be strong and resilient at her pace. So she got stronger, her mood lifted almost right away. She began to feel empowered by her progress. It was almost as if she was infused with her agency that the disease was starting to make her be afraid of losing. As you might guess, the workouts didn't just build her muscles, they gave her brain resilience and gave her back her independence and her feeling of confidence. This is a triumph anyone facing neurodegenerative disease deserves. So, strength training makes you stronger, makes you more stable. More muscles raises your basal metabolism, making weight management and blood sugar regulation much easier. Now, you know something else. Strength training sharpens memory and focus. If you're just every day having trouble with that, there you go. Number 2, reduces Alzheimer's markers and brain inflammation that advance the disease more quickly. And number 3, slows down the progression of the disease, putting you in the driver's seat and keeps those jackals at bay. Cardio, it's still important. Keep doing it. Don't throw away your walking shoes. It's good for mental health, heart health, and sociability because it's something you can do with your friends. But if you've been overlooking resistance training, you're missing out on one of the most powerful brain protective benefits we know about. And now we know from hard science this is true. So the next time you're thinking of exercise for brain health, don't default to just cardio. Add strength training. Start light, stay consistent, and think every rep is an investment in mental vitality. I've seen it work for Gus, Gloria, Stuart, and me. So I want you to experience it too. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe for more science-backed strategies and share this video with someone who wants to age strong for body and mind. And remember, friends, don't let friends skip brain day.